Hey everybody, this is the show where we call Box Seats, where we do sports with comedians. Today is one of those days where we're going to do this show today with a heavy heart. I want to dedicate this show to a friend of mine who was recently became a good friend of mine. She helped me do this show a lot, and her name is Sharonda Rogers. She passed away yesterday, and she's a much better friend to Talent Harris, who's more of a friend to me. But I spoke to her a lot all the time, and my heart is very, very heavy, and I'm in a mood today, so I'm gonna try my best to do this show. Let me bring in Talent. Talent, how you doing, sir?
I'm good as can be expected. Frank, how are you? I think we need to dedicate the whole week.
I'm with you on that, man, because what people don't realize, man, is Sharonda helped me do the show every day. When you introduced me to Sharonda 4 months ago, I think it's been now 5 months ago, she's been an intricate part of helping to do this show. So I want to dedicate, hey, you know what, Talent, I'm with you, man. I'm going to dedicate the whole week.
Yeah, man. It's Sharonda week, man. Sharonda Rogers week here on the Box Seats.
I'm definitely do that. Next up, my man Fig. How you doing, sir?
Like Talent as well as could be expected. I'm gonna need y'all to stop this if I'm gonna make it through this hour.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
Stop what?
Mike Sean in the building. How you doing, sir?
I'm already crying, God damn it. Jeez. We gotta overcome as comedians, you know what we do? We overcompensate when we go through something.
Yeah.
So today will probably be one of the funniest shows you'll ever see, and you'll probably see us all cry at the end. But damn.
Yeah, it's one of those days.
I'm gonna tell y'all because all three of y'all light skinned, but tell y'all what I told my boy. Tell y'all what I told my boy M. Dot, who's light skinned. Right? I called him. He said, "I'm good." I said, "I had to check on you, man. You know how you light skinned."
Hilarious. Amir's in the building. Amir, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm just doing like the rest of y'all, man, in disbelief, to be honest with you. But like you said, we're gonna make it through this. So I'm here.
Yeah.
You still overdressed like a motherfucker. Like,
yeah, I thought we was doing a show. I'm good. I thought we was doing a show. Amir came for a funeral. Like, let's not. None of us are dressed. Over here looking like you robbed the Joker's closet.
I'm glad y'all doing this, man. Y'all look with my spirits too. Rodney Perry in the building too, man. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, party people?
So, like we said, but we're gonna jump into this show, man. Sharonda's the one who normally ends up getting the stories and everything else. You know, especially the last 2 months, 2.5 months. She was a big help in that. So, pardon me if the stories are gonna be jacked up today.
Tell the whole story.
Hey, Frank.
Like let me get them for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Probably had to come clean.
Yeah, she was our information from the door. She was everything. I just want to say, I'm going to make it real easy for you. I've never been so wrong in my life. Everything I said this weekend was absolutely wrong. Rodney Perry was right. Business Bully was right. I was wrong about every single thing. So whatever I said.
About what part?
Go the opposite.
All of it.
Okay, all of it. You got to be a little particular, Mike. What part?
I underestimated what Joel Embiid means to the Sixers. I thought the series was over. Rodney said the Miami Heat really ain't that good. Now, I'm not going that far. And saying they're not that good. But what I am saying is they did get exposed these last 2 games. So I would like to say I was 100% wrong. Like, about everything. There was one thing I was right about. Okay. Except Canelo Alvarez losing, but that's a different story. Because I knew that fraud. I knew that fraud was going to be exposed at some point. But
Mike Tyson said all he needed to do is shoot the jab.
So what was Mike? What was Rodney Perry right about too?
He exposed the Miami Heat. Now I still don't know if the Miami Heat are going to pull this off. Like, it's 2-2. But Rodney was adamant about them not being that good. And now remember, and I think Talent remembers when I said, because I think Talent clowned me for it. I said I got a problem with Jimmy Butler being the best player on your team.
Yeah.
And I said that because it just seems like he works so hard to get his 30 or 35. But then I played myself and I reneged on it. And I was like, all of a sudden, I rolled out with them. So that was my bad.
They was just fighting 2 weeks ago.
He said 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they were.
I'm confused about Rodney. Is it warm out there or cold?
Part of my look.
Because the sun's shining like a mug, but that's a jacket.
It's a light jacket. It's a light.
First of all, Rodney Perry is in a Christian biker gang. Let him be great.
with a members only jacket. Like
that is 100% genuine leatherette.
That is hilarious.
Don't be a hater, gentlemen. You guys are so much better than this.
No, he ain't.
Man. So before we start talking about the games over the weekend, even though I can't wait to do that, man, a friend of mine texted me about literally 25 minutes ago saying that he read a couple of articles he's going to send to me in the 15 minutes saying that he thinks the Lakers are literally closing in on Mark Jackson, because it looks like some people are saying that the Lakers are closing in on signing Mark Jackson as the head coach. He's in the final three. Now, I didn't get a chance to read the stories that he sent me just yet, but I'm going to ask you, man. The Lakers, I saw one story about this over the weekend. The Lakers hired Mark Jackson. Do you think they're hiring him to be the scapegoat of this man? Because I don't think any coach can help save the Lakers in the next year.
Ooh, that question.
I don't think any Lakers could do that. But I got a couple of them over the weekends. What you think? What you think, right? What you think, Talent?
Well, I tell you this. I think this. Like now, I'm back to the 80s where I was a Laker fan because of Magic. Once they got Magic, instant Laker fan. If Mark is the guy, I'm forced to go back into being a Laker fan, you know, for my West Coast team. I've been with the Spurs once Magic got out. It was over. There's no reason. I didn't like the colors. You know, not a big fan of the forum back then and all that. It was all about Showtime with Magic Johnson. So now I feel the same thing coaching wise if they bring Mark Jackson in, which makes me sick to my stomach because I got to agree with Rodney on certain shit.
Fact. Jesus.
As Rodney leaves the chair.
So, Fig, do you think that this would be a good look for him, or do you think it's another thing where they're setting him up to fail? Because, like I said, the talent. I mean, honestly, there's not a coach in the league who could save the Lakers from, in my opinion, from
I'll tell you this. I don't think you can save the Lakers, which is sad to say. But let me tell you this: Mark Jackson don't play. He's not a company guy. Mark Jackson dances to the beat of his own tune, and if those guys don't get right, and Mark is the coach, Mark is going to do what he feels. He ain't gonna care what Jeannie and Palenka and all them people be saying. Mark is going to do what Mark is going to do, and he's going to do the best thing he can for the team. And I'm sure in the interview process, that's exactly what he's telling them. He said, because listen, I'm hired to do a job. This is what I'm going to do, and I don't need no interference from anybody upstairs. And if y'all think you're going to stop me from doing what it is I'm going to do, you need to hire somebody else, because Mark Jackson ain't a puppet. We see that. Listen, if he was a puppet, he would have had a job 100 years ago. He would have lost a job with Golden State, and somebody else would have hired him immediately. But the fact that he's not a puppet is the reason he's been out so long. And we all know that. If you speak up for yourself, you're a black man in America, they keep you on the outs. I mean, it just is what it is.
I'm glad you said that. I'm disappointed in you, Fig X, for messing up a black African saying to the beat of his own tune. It's drum, nigga, drum.
Oh, did I say that wrong? Dance to the beat of his own drum.
You from the West Coast of Africa?
I'm sorry.
Mike Sean, the Lakers have the fourth highest salary in the league. They cannot. LeBron is supposed to obviously opt in this year for 2 years, and of course, we already know about the Westbrook opt-in and everything else. They have the fourth highest payroll in the league this year. They probably will have the second highest payroll next year. What's your take, man, about this Mark Jackson situation?
Damn, I'm a Mark Jackson fan. I think everybody on here is a Mark Jackson fan, I think. But it's tough. It's a tough situation because what are you going to do with Russell Westbrook? Because Mark's going to tell him what the problem is. So, like, if you don't get somebody to trade for Russell Westbrook and get that $40 million off the cap, what's going to happen is there's going to be a collision that's going to happen because Mark's going to tell him, like, you're horrible.
That's a fact.
And that's not going to go over well unless LeBron supports him. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, I will say this. I'm the biggest LeBron fan ever. But if you want this to work and this happens, LeBron, you have to support Mark Jackson and be his dude that goes, well, Mark said it, I'm riding with it. If you don't do that, it's going to be a catastrophe.
Right. Amir, your take.
I think, Mike hit the nail on the head. The biggest thing is, obviously Mark going out to the West Coast, he's a proven coach. That's a given. The thing that Mark is probably going to do is get the guard situation in order for the Lakers, which then makes it a little harder for LeBron to, do what he's been doing, for so many years. But to Mike's point, he's got to have this conversation. Hey, look, in order for this thing to work, you need everybody to be on board with what the game plan is. And Braun has to buy into it much more so than anybody else because he's going to be the one that they look to as far as leadership is concerned in that organization. So I think Mike is, absolutely right. And to be honest with you, I'd love to see him possibly turn that around. We as fans always, like I said, talk about the greats, whether it's Phil Jackson, the gentleman who used to coach the Detroit Pistons, so forth and so on. You have great players. Sometimes you have to see if you could take those great players and turn them into even greater players by having them learn a new system and a different way of playing the game. And I'm curious to see if Mark Jackson is going to be able to do that with LeBron. You know what I mean?
Boy, what's your take on this, bro?
LeBron James is arguably one of the greatest players of all time. He is also one of the worst GMs of all time. Point blank and period. So as a result, Mark Jackson is walking into a lion's den where Scar has taken over Pride Rock, Scar being Mufasa, and he is going to get sacrificed, if not exiled, as a result. And that's the problem. The only thing that is more troubling to that than me, Frank, is the fact that Amir looks like he popped out of that painting at the end credits of Good Times. Other than that, man, I have nothing else to give on Mark Jackson. Phenomenal coach, horrible situation.
Amir, you look amazing. Paul.
You do. You
look amazing.
Really
We're hating right now. We're hating right now, Amir.
That bow tie belongs in the Universal Circus, and I want to get under the big top, sir.
Roger Perry, what's your take on all this craziness, man? Because the stories are popping up about Mark Jackson. What's your take? And you're on mute.
You're on mute, Rodney.
Well, since he's on mute, Business Bully, saying LeBron's a bad GM is kind of crazy because he's won 4 championships in different cities. So
I'm talking about for the Lakers.
Horrible.
I'm talking about for the Lakers.
He won a chip there too, but he did win a chip there too.
What was it last year?
Is it Pawpaw's turn or not?
Give a dude a cigar and listen how he talks. Give
got him around.
Look how he talk. You ain't scaring nobody. Go ahead.
Rodney. Let's take this from the top down. Frank, come on here and guide the conversation to some type of conspiracy over there. Or they trying to set up booby trap for Mark Jackson. Hell no. Mark Jackson has not had a coaching job in the better part of the last what? How many years? A decade?
Yeah.
Out of basketball for a decade. Mark Jackson won a coach. Period. Mark Jackson would have took the Sacramento Kings, which would have been a horrible job. All right?
So, facts.
Yeah.
Put everybody back up so I can go down the line properly. And then talent with a little half-ass compliment. He ecstatic over this. Okay? If you love Mark Jackson, you happy for him and his family. He's going to the Lakers. He go to church there. He played pickup basketball there. He loves Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Fig.
You got it.
Fig gonna come on the screen talking about, man, well, maybe Mark Jackson, he's gonna go in there and do his. Shut your pie hole, Fig. Okay? Shut it. Shut your freaking pie hole. Then we got old Mike Sean, old factual Mike Sean. Okay? He always got some facts up on the screen. But guess what, Mike Sean? You know what? The Lakers however had a bad season, these are still probably 3 of the best players in the world. I think the Business Bullet, who's usually a go-to when it comes to evaluating situations, starts out with, I think LeBron is one of the top players. One of the top players. Are you losing your goddamn mind? We talking about top 2 players all time. All time. Here goes, man. Congratulations, Mark Jackson. If you get a job with the Lakers, if you don't, so be it. But, man, Mark Jackson is a great coach. He's going to bring some stability to the Lakers. And he's going to take that same team. If y'all, I'm going on record. You too, Amir. Your funky fresh outfit. I ain't letting you slide with this fly-ass haberdashery. Mark Jackson's going to take that same Laker team that everybody said wasn't shit. He's going to take motherfucking Westbrook and make him Goodbrook.
What? Goodbrook?
Write it down. I can't wait for Mark Jackson to get out there. Mark Jackson will have them guys in a prayer meeting. He's going to have them. They're going to be worshiping Jesus. It's going to be a good thing. Welcome to the team, Mark. Let me know if you need me.
Yo, we got to do a new rule. Rodney cannot do the show ever again in the sun. Like, ever. Like, it never.
It's too much being downloaded from the sun.
He come and find me everywhere I move.
His melanin is activated.
Rodney ran out of vitamin D, and he's trying to get some natural.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. So, talent, let's jump into the games now, because after Rodney Curry, we 20 minutes into the show. So
I didn't get the mic till 15.
Yeah. So, talent. Here's what we're gonna do. The Warriors ended up slipping by the Grizzlies yesterday. I saw the last part of that game, and I was like, the Warriors don't look like the Warriors to me. I was a little concerned about that. Then I watched a couple other people see their take on everything else. I'm going to ask you, do you think people in Golden State or Golden State fans should be worried about, obviously, Golden State Warriors slipping by Memphis, even though Memphis is literally down 3-1? And realistically, Memphis should be up 3-1. You know what I mean? They should have won 2 more games. You know, they missed the layup, Ja Morant. They blew that game yesterday. But anyway, talent. I don't want to put words in your mouth. What you think?
Well, I think that anybody that plays sports know in basketball is 70 to 80% mental, meaning they have nothing to worry about. The reason that game was tight, even with Ja hurt, is because mentally you go into it different. It's like if I'm playing the Bulls with Jordan, and then Jordan's going to play today against sprained ankle. You come into that game totally mentally differently prepared, because now it seems like a shoo-in. They discounted all the other players who were going to be stepping up. You know what I mean? The complacency of coming to a game without a star player, you think it's a shoo-in. And the boys came to ball and took them to the brink and made them play a full game. But overall, that's a wake-up call too. I don't think they have nothing to worry about. I think that's about as close as you're going to get. The rest of this thing is a rat fizzle. For sure.
Fig, that's probably one team that I'm not concerned with about them winning without their superstar, because they've proven that they can win without Ja. What's your take, Fig?
Yeah, they play better defense without Ja. That's pretty much it. We know that Ja is right now is an offensive juggernaut in such a short period of time in the league. So without him, Bane being with back spasms, not quite 100%. I think maybe the Golden State Warriors possibly overlooked last night's game plan at home. But I'll tell you this, as a Warrior fan or Steph Curry fan or whatever, they do look like they lost a step or two. Clay doesn't look like he's 100%. Draymond is working extremely hard. Steph is shooting. It's not normal to see Steph miss some of the shots that he's missing. And I'm not talking about from the 3. I'm talking about from the foul line. Just some of the things that I'm seeing from the Warriors just seem uncharacteristic. So, yeah, man.
All right,
they look uncharacteristic to me as the Warriors. They don't look like the Warriors of old.
What's your take, Mike?
My take was you saw.
Uh-oh.
You saw the veterans kick in. Like, I think Memphis is a year away, and I think a year from now, ain't nobody gonna want any problems with them. But I think right now, Steph is still making shots in clutch situations, and Golden State just has an edge just being. First of all, Ja's out. That's number one. Number two, these guys have been here a million times before, so they make the clutch plays. I'm not even a Golden State fan, but Steph and those dudes make the. And do I think they're losing a step? Yeah, I think they're losing a step. But yeah, that just goes what we said. Klay Thompson was going to take a year or two to get back to his normal self.
Yeah.
So and Draymond is the guy who's done all the dirty work. And as much as I can't stand him, he's the guy who's been taking the elbows. He's the guy who's been getting roughed up down low. Pause.
Word up.
Oh no, yeah, I super paused it. But Golden State's gonna win. They're gonna win this series, and I think they would have won. I think they would have won the series even if Ja was in there, simply because they're just veterans. They're veterans, and they have that edge on them right now.
Bully, you take?
Yeah. Did anybody see Steph Curry after the game? Has anybody bothered to check on Lance Woods? Because he said, I don't know what the heck was going on there. I thought we got traded to Sacramento. Poor Lance Woods is feeling some type of way right now. Steph, I didn't know Steph could miss, to be honest with you. But I'm not surprised, man. Like this is where champions' amazing legacies are forged. So, it is what it is. I don't think it's going to be, what everybody thinks it's going to be. I think that this is going to be one of those things where it depends on who's the healthiest and who's the most focused at this point. That's it.
I agree with that one. Rodney Kerr, you think?
I mean, it's amazing to me to see how people jump off the bandwagon. One tough game is Golden State done? Hell no. They still Golden State Warriors. And how about this? It's crazy to ask them if they done and they won. What are we gonna say when they lose? I mean, these guys is really good, and the Grizzlies ain't no slouches, right? But they still young boys. They up against the wall right now, and when there's a close game, they can't get it done. They failed last night, and like Mike Sean said, I think they done.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Memphis Grizzlies is going to be a problem though in the future, though. You know what I mean? They should be up 3-1 instead of down 3-1. But these things happen. I mean, what's your take?
I think you're absolutely right. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are, getting their bumps and bruises so that in the future they'll be better prepared for these type of moments. To Rodney's point, you're talking about a team that has championship pedigree. At least 3 of the leaders of that team have championship pedigree, and the fact that their role players have all gotten better and are ready for the moment shows you that these guys are more than prepared and ready to do what needs to be done. So this is a stepping stone for the Grizzlies. They'll come back next year a lot more focused and even more hungry. So they're gonna be somebody to watch next year.
Right. So T, the Celtics ended up tying the series in Milwaukee. Honestly, they came back. They were down by 11 at the beginning of the fourth. They were down by 11. They showed some grit and everything else. Ended up coming back in the series. If you were to say, you're on mute too, T. You're on mute. If you were to say what your thoughts were on the series right now, what would you say about the series as you see it, T? You're mute. You're muted.
Well, I know I do it on purpose. The dogs. I don't want them to bite you next. When I feel like I'm muted, I'll keep you guys safe. Here's the thing, and I know you're probably gonna disagree because you up there in Beantown with some racist people. They shouldn't have won that game. I watched that game. The calling was horrendous. The calls for Boston it was clear and apparent that it's one thing when you want, and even like Rodney and Mike Sean alluded to this a week ago when the playoffs started, how the NBA wants these things to go as long as possible. Of course, it means money. But when it's blatant is when I get sickened by watching it. You get nauseous. It's like, come on, we watch basketball because we love it. We want to see the competitiveness and all that stuff go back and forth. But when the calls get so blatant, and it's like every time you get to the fourth quarter and these guys up 3 points, 4 points, 5 points, here come the bullshit calls to bring it back within 1 or give them a 1 point edge, all that. The last 10 minutes of that game, bro, if I had 8 before I went to watch the game, I would throw it up. I would throw it up. It should have won that game. That game should have not ended the way it ended. So I say all that to say that, yeah, it's 2-2, but I don't see Boston beating. I think the problem with Boston facing the matching up against the Milwaukee is they look really good when they can, outsize a team. But when they play another team with bigs like Milwaukee has, they look very normal, very mediocre, very average.
I swear to God, it really depends on who's watching the game. Because
you didn't see the bad calls in the fourth quarter?
I saw the bad calls in the entire NBA all weekend, but I'm trying to go, because I think the NBA officiating is horrible throughout all the games, not just the Celtics.
Well, they need it, but see, certain series, if you watch, they need those games to stretch. They need those games to end up when they got lopsided 2-0 or 2-1. They needed to even those suckers out to get at least 6 to 7 games out of it.
Well, T, I'm gonna just say this. I think the calls lean more towards the Bucks in Milwaukee. That's what I'm gonna just say. But let me just see what Fig. We'll see what you say. What's your take, Fig?
I don't know. I don't know what happened last night. I don't know what Budenholzer was doing. Bobby Portis, I don't think Bobby Portis played the whole fourth quarter, and he left in Brook Lopez, and everybody was playing hero ball. What happened to moving the ball around and getting an open shot? I mean, Boston defense is good, but my God, pass the ball, because that's the way you beat a good defense. Pass the ball. You're bigger, you're stronger. You got Giannis going 1-on-3. Like, well, what are we doing? Like, you got Brook Lopez out there. You got Holiday. I mean, you got all these players that can shoot, play inside out. I don't know what I think it was a horrible coaching job. And as far as the calls, I don't know what they were last night. I know people were complaining about the calls the game before, but in the fourth quarter, it was 17-0 Boston. Boston had 17 foul shots to 0 in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee still won the game. So when we talk about calls, I want to hear it. I don't hear nothing about no foul calls because it's been crazy all season, and it has not been going Milwaukee's way. It has not.
It depends on who you ask. Dave, what you think?
I'm going to say this, and I need people to just bear with me for a second. The fact that we continue to talk about this and not look at the business perspective of what happened between the Bucks and the Celtics is absolutely unbelievable to me. At what point do the referees have their own union, Frank?
Yes, they do.
So when is that union rep going to offer up the knee pads they definitely need for blowing the game in and game out?
Wow.
Like, some of these calls were so ridiculous. It's like calling Bermuda in 1993. It's going to cost you a whole lot of money. And that's what happened. I know good and well, Talent Sports Book. Poor Mike almost went back to drinking looking at his damn sports betting apps. This is absolute. And I keep telling y'all keep coming for me for my wrestling addiction, but at least we know that the refs are in on the screw job. Y'all are still under the delusion that this isn't about anything other than stretching it out. I'm going to tell you about the Sixers later, but I got something to tell you because I talked to the Sixers earlier today. This whole thing is rigged, but, continue to tell me it's not about money and business. Okay.
It's definitely about money, I think. But Mike Sean, what's your take?
Everything they said is right. The officials have been in on this, and the NBA has manipulated games forever. They've done that. The Detroit Pistons got robbed by the Lakers on a call that didn't exist against Kareem when Bill Laimbeer literally just stood behind him. Stood behind him and they called the foul. That was the first time they played against each other. They've always done this. But I want to give credit to one person. Al Horford did not punk out. When Giannis stepped to him and dunked on him, Al Horford stepped up and played his ass off. And I was super impressed that the dude did not back down, because normally what happens when a superstar, and I love Giannis. But when a superstar steps to you like that, normally everybody just cowers on and says Giannis is going to kill us for the rest of the game. I didn't even know Al Horford had that in him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what he did was he really stepped to Giannis. And I know the officials are bogus. I get it. And I can't disagree with any of that. But when a guy steps to you like that, the rest of the team steps up and goes, you know what? We're not scared neither.
Yeah. Roddy Perry, what's your take?
I mean, we talked about the officiating last week, and I took it upon myself to bring it up. Actually, the officiating has been whack all season, but they also been letting these guys play. They've been so there's no ticky-tack fouls. If you're looking for that, you're gonna get your feelings hurt. I mean, I think that's one of the big reasons why we see guys like what's the name that was in Houston now is in with Sixers. James Harden is having a tough season because people got the ability to slap on him and shit. He don't like that. But that's neither here nor there. A great series is going back and forth. Maybe at the behest of the league, but I mean these teams are Boston Celtics are really good. They're long, they're rangy, they make shots, and we might not like it, but they're not going nowhere. And when you talk about the future of the league, that team is the future of the league. I think Memphis will go somewhere and we never gonna see their ass again. But that Boston Celtics team is a real deal. They're tall, they're fast, they're athletic, and as long as they stay athletic, they're gonna be a force to be reckoned with.
So, Roddy, you gonna send me my money now, or you want to wait till the series is over? I just want to know.
No. They still gonna lose. they still gonna lose. Right. What's the bet anyway?
We got $20 that the Celtics gonna beat.
First of all, you didn't bet $20.
Yeah, you didn't bet $20. I bet $20. I had to send Rodney money.
Did I not bet $20?
You did not bet $20.
Yeah,
you bet fucking $1, Frank.
No, you bet
$1 and lost. He paid up too.
Okay, what's the bet? What's the bet?
$20 on the series, Rodney.
I got a new bet. I bet you.
That's a good bet.
Take this $20 bet. This is a new bet. I bet you those ain't real trees, man. 20 cash. You sitting outside of Home Depot.
What's your cash out?
$ Home Depot.
It's on the way.
Oh my God.
You honestly could do that. I ain't gonna say nothing, man. What's your take of the series, bro? What's your take?
I think that we're looking at a relatively good series. I do think that the officiating has, as everybody has chimed in and said, has been suspect since the beginning. Just seemed to me yesterday with the Bucks, I feel like the Boston Celtics looked like they were doing more though in that fourth quarter than the Bucks did. I don't think that it was just a matter of them not making shots and being outcoached. They just got outworked. Boston was getting every loose ball. They were, doing everything they could to push put the pressure on Milwaukee. And it seems to me, and it feels like to me, Milwaukee cracked a little bit under the pressure. Like, look, guys, this is, your moment. Y'all in your own arena. How do you not step up in your own home arena? You can't let somebody else come in and smack you around in your house. And I feel like that's what Boston did last night. They came and smacked Giannis around in their own house.
Yeah,
can't let them do that.
I'm just mad that Rodney don't even talk trash when he wins a bet. He just sends his Cash App. That was ignorant. That's so disrespectful.
Yo, Frank, also, Giannis looked gassed.
Yeah.
Giannis looked gassed last night. It's like he was hyperventilating, man. And just like he didn't look like himself because he kept trying to play that hero ball. Like I said, going 1-on-4, 1-on-3 and stuff like that. Instead of moving the ball and getting open shots. The 3 guys is guarding me. 2 guys is open. I don't know what Budenholzer, man. I'm just like, Greg Popovich would have never stood for that.
But you know what, Big?
I'm embarrassed by what Budenholzer
But you know what, Big? It's not being used to somebody stepping to you. And Al Horford did. Like, he really did say, you score, I score. Like, literally.
Yeah, but it wasn't like one-on-one. It
was. Like, literally.
No, I'm saying anytime Giannis get the ball, there's 3 people guard him. Yeah, that's guaranteed.
But when Horford got the ball on his side, he took it to Giannis, and he took it directly. So that's why. Sorry, Rodney. Go ahead.
All props to Al Horford, man. Al Horford is a savvy veteran. Last night, he turned back the hands of time. He was hitting outside shots. He was dunking. He played defense. Like Al Horford turned back the hands of time last night and just played out of his mind. Right after Giannis dunked on him, stared him down, and got a technical foul. Right. Al Horford played out of his mind last night. I'm not taking nothing away from him. That was guaranteed.
Fig, I mean, you're not way off base on this one. I think also the absence of Chris Middleton creates a vacuum where Giannis feels like he's gotta fill that void. And I think that's what we're seeing more than anything, man, is that him feeling like I mean, I'm not gonna blame it on the coach. I think it's the absence of his two guy. And when you look around, your Robin is gone, and you got to motherfucking be Batman.
At the end of the day, I said that at the beginning of the series when I bet you, Rodney, I said, Chris Middleton is gone. I said, they're going to miss him. And I still think they're going to miss him. It's hurt.
Nobody care, Frank, about your little $20, man.
It ain't about the money. It's about the bet. It's about the bet. It's about the bet.
You're going to lose the bet. You're going to lose the bet.
All right.
Yeah, Milwaukee's going to win it overall, though.
Who the NBA won the finals?
NBA won. I think the NBA wants the Heat and
the Heat.
I think NBA wants the Heat.
No, they want Milwaukee. I think they want Milwaukee or Boston.
He's right there.
I don't think they want the Heat.
Yeah,
the
Milwaukee had one of the lowest
Leprechaun play.
Milwaukee had one of the lowest rating NBA finals ever of all time last year when Milwaukee.
Nobody want to see them, but they better than your team.
The NBA does not want Milwaukee Bucks in the finals because they want ratings. Ratings means dollars. They don't want the Heat means money. The Heat and Phoenix mean money. They want those two obviously in the finals. But actually, honestly, I think they want Heat and Golden State in the finals because Golden State obviously what Golden State does. That's what I've been doing.
Well, honestly,
and I hate to the Lakers, but they're not gonna get that.
Yeah, right. But honestly, who they really want is your team. They really want Boston in the finals.
I don't think so at all.
No, they absolutely do. Your market is legendary in the NBA. There's no other team that they want than to have Boston in the finals.
Yeah, except for the Lakers.
I think they want to, but at the end of the day, we'll see. But so Colin, I'm gonna ask you this, man, because I'm looking at the time and I want to get this story in real fast. Chris Paul was having a game. He was doing everything else and right before, I think it was Saturday night, right before Mother's Day and everything else, his people got accosted in the stands and everything else. And this is like the 5th time this year and everything else. Now, Talon, I'm going to ask you real quick, and we're going to move this along real fast. What do you think that the NBA should do right now with fans accosting family members in the stands right now? Because what they did to Chris Paul's mom, while his mom was there, his kids were there, and his wife was there, and somebody put his hands on his mom, and then they acted like that. Obviously Chris Paul was wrong for losing his composure. I don't know. What would you do if you're the NBA? How would you handle this, team?
Well, first of all, I'm a big fan of non-lethal weapons. We should bring back the slingshots. And I say that to say, imagine if they set up there, they set a thing up where you can see the whole arena, and you got about maybe 10 of these guys up there with some high-powered slingshot, and you just get a call from security on the floor, C3B4, and pow, just hit them, and they stop that shit real fast. And nobody dies, but them slingshots and BB guns are mad effective.
Yeah. Greg, I can't even imagine what you would take if somebody put their hands on your mom while you in the stands, literally on Mother's Day Eve. I can't even imagine you take.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't have been good on that one. But I'll tell you what, Talent, I like your idea, but I'd like to take you one further. In India, when they catch you cheating, they bring out the canes and they cane you. So anytime a fan gets out of control and does something real crazy, you're to bring him to center court, have some dudes hold each end of his body, one arm, each leg, get the cane and just start beating him. Pow! Pow! Just like they do in India. And I guarantee you, he's not gonna go back to his seat. He gonna go back back home. And if he ever gets his behind in shape to get to a game where he can sit down, he can never do that again.
Bully, what's the
caning? I'd like to bring back caning.
Well, first of all, it is.
Yeah, well, point of order, Frank. First things off, you can tell Fig ain't never been nowhere because that's Singapore. In India, they cut your hand off. And the fact that Talent is on this show with a Red Ryder BB gun from Christmas Story, like it's okay. Listen, he's got a point. My only issue with that is from a legal perspective.
They do cane out there as well, Bully.
I'm just giving Fig shit. Let the joke stand, Paw. Damn. The thing of it is, the liability if somebody does get their eye shot out is a lot worse than the liability that's going to happen if you get your jaw broke by me by putting your hands on my mom.
Yeah. Mike Sean, honestly, you think the NBA should do something about this, man? You think they should step in and do something like this?
No, we've been talking about the fans' behavior all year long, and we've been saying that security should be out there. All year long, we've been saying security is going to be something bad's going to happen because I'm not even a tough guy at all. Anybody who knows me know I'm not a tough guy. But if you put your hands on my mom,
all bets are off.
It's on and popping. Right. And what's going to happen is that somebody's going to react. Now, I don't know why a man who makes $38 million a year has his family in general admission with the regular people in the audience. Like, but I get it. Like, I get you think that your family's going to be fine, and they should be fine, but they should be in the suite because you can't trust these cats, especially these people when you're a different complexion and they can't wait to get at you on something.
That might be the business order and everything else. But Rodney Perry, you think the NBA should literally do something to Chris Paul because he was reacting, obviously, when somebody put his hands on his mama?
No, I think we all understand talking about somebody's mama, touching somebody's mama, it just escalates everything. So I don't think the NBA should fine him or nothing like that. But how about this? Let's go with talent's nonviolent. I'm thinking triple. You know that's old school. Sweep their legs, man. Take them out. Triple.
Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg.
Frank, just to reiterate what Mike was talking about, you should have your family in the box seats.
Amir, good take. Amir.
I think that there's, obviously we never want to see any fans put their hands on anybody for that matter, not just, team members, families and stuff like that. But I think that the problem is, and, we were talking about the security aspect. If you look around in most arenas, most of the people who are security are regular everyday Joes. So that won't be helpful. You'll have, dads that will, normally be in fighting other dads. It won't be a real good thing because we don't have that kind of security. You got these ladies who she works as an operator during the day and she does usher work, during the evening. So that's not going to help. But I do think that it is something that should be addressed because I think that what we're seeing, and especially now, like y'all said, with the advance of camera phones and all that stuff, is what some of the family members really have to go through in these circumstances. A lot of that is only hearsay, has been hearsay for us for so long. But now we can see it in real time.
Yeah,
and, none of us want to have to.
I want to move this on. Talent. The Sixers and the Heat are tied up 2-2, but Joel Embiid over the weekend did not get MVP. Do you think that motivates him to get MVP to help them close out this series tonight? What's your take on this and the series, especially how they did Joel Embiid dirty? And that's the way I'm standing on that right now because I think Joel Embiid should have got MVP. What's your take on this, T?
I disagree. I think the three people who were at the top three, it could have went anyway. There was no wrong answer there. I think we addressed that like last week sometime. There's no wrong answer there. If he got it, I was going to be happy. If any one of them got it, because we could find reasons for each and every one to be more deserving than the next. But it was a toss-up. But I think, if you're a good, solid basketball player or competitor, you take that, you use that as fuel and energy he should feel wrong. I don't care which one of the three that didn't get it. The other two should feel wrong, and that should be incentive to play even harder and better and go see what I told you. But let's face it, what he did from the end of the season to now in the playoffs, he got an edge up. But they supposedly don't judge that. They stop at the end of the season. Supposedly. I don't believe it, but.
Yeah, Fig, you know what? My man Steven Jackson got on I think it was the internet or something like that. He basically came out and said the 75 top players should pick the MVP of the series. And that's how, we should do it instead of sports rights and everything else. You think Joel Embiid is going to be empowered to break this series wide open tonight?
Well, listen, man, the great players did. The Michael Jordans, the Magic Johnsons, whenever they felt slighted or something like that, Michael Jordan even used to make up stuff fictitiously in his mind that somebody said about him and use that for motivation to go and dominate. So the fact that somebody said that somebody else was better than you, then you go out there and prove it. Joel Embiid has the size and skill to be able to do that. I'd hate to be the guy guarding him tonight. You know what I mean? When he goes out there to try and prove that he's the best player or he was the most valuable player in the NBA. But what Talon said is absolutely right.
Hey, Fig, my mother what?
Well, yeah. It could have went either way, man. It could have been the Joker, Joel, Giannis, or even Booker out in Phoenix. Either one of those guys could have got MVP. And the rest of the guys that didn't win, you should feel slighted and take out your pound of flesh right now in the playoffs.
The Sixers fan on the panel, Dave, the business bully, talk to me, man. Do you think Joel Embiid is going to break this series wide open and crack it open tonight? Because he should have got MVP.
Well, here's the thing, Frank. Amongst you ne'er-do-wells, I constantly have said that you continue to play my team as if my team is to be played with. And I also said that there's a great accounting for energy, Frank. I said energy is what you feel when you know Mom and Paw was arguing before you get to the house for yams and brisket. And guess what? You can feel it. You can cut the tension with the knife. Joel Embiid has empowered and energized this team. And I'm sorry, we could talk about Joker. We could talk about Giannis. I'm with you. I think you guys have made phenomenal points. But the truth of the matter is none of them were saddled with a light-skinned ne'er-do-well who did absolutely nothing other than try to steal Michael Blackson's fiance named Ben Simmons. I have been consistent in what I've said. I am arguably the most accurate sports analyst this show has ever seen. And by the way, Joel Embiid is going to beat the brakes off of these folks tonight. And I don't want to hear nothing. I want y'all to be as diligent as Rodney Perry is with my Cash App last week and run me my money. I got $20 on all y'all. I'm putting hits out on all you sons of batches.
Okay, Mike Sean, you heard his take. What's your take? You think is series gonna be cracked open tonight by the Sixers? What you think, Mike?
I still feel uncomfortable. We keep saying cracked open. Like you said it like 3 times. Keep saying Joel Embiid is gonna crack the series open, like
wide open.
Like wide open. Like what type of jailhouse odds thing are we doing? Right?
Yo,
I agree with everybody. I think all 3 guys. Like Steven Jackson compared it to Steve Nash, and I don't think that's fair. I think the Joker deserved. I thought Embiid should have won the MVP. Like watching what he's doing, I thought he should have in hindsight. But it's not Steve Nash. Like Steve Nash was playing in a league where Kobe Bryant and Shaq were at their apex.
Facts.
That was a travesty that he won 2 straight MVPs. Like Allen Iverson was in the league. Like, so we can't compare it to that. I think Joel Embiid could have won it, and if he would have won it, I wouldn't have been surprised. But I don't think it's as big a deal as everybody's making it out. And I think it's getting a little racist. I think it's getting to be a racist situation where this dude is white and Steven Jackson is going hard. The dude averaged 27, 9, and 9.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I don't think there's a such thing as a little racist.
You sure?
Racist is his own thing. Racist is bad.
But you know how you just dab a little bit of racism, just like
no talent. I have to agree with Mike. You can't be a little racist. You just have to be a dwarf.
Right.
That's like being a part-time murderer.
If you're a Caucasian dwarf, you can be a little racist.
But I don't kill everybody. I don't kill everybody.
Rodney Perry,
my main thing is burglary.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a regular season award. I would venture to say that Embiid will come out and play lights out tonight, but hopefully he doesn't need this to get it done. His team was down, and they're back in the series. Hopefully that's the reason. I mean, I hope he ain't waiting for some motivation when you're getting your ass whooped. You gotta go play some ball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, did you have a great season? You did, but you ain't win. That shit over. Let's go and play. Let's play.
Yo, I hate
need motivation from the season to play good in the playoffs. And what he need to be working on is playoff MVP.
I hate talent because I can't stop looking at them goddamn trees now. I can't stop looking at those trees. Those trees are not real.
They ain't moved, ain't a leaf dropped.
Wait till the 2 Ecuadorians walk by.
Yo, I checked the weather in Atlanta. It's a windy day. The tree ain't moved yet.
Matter of fact, Rodney, you sitting there. I ain't gonna lie, you look a little racist.
You look a little racist.
Oh, man, what's your take on
You
this,
look a little
bro?
racist right now.
I think
I
Embiid is
wanted to
going to
come out
be.
with Sharon. Hey, baby, we love you.
Yeah, I think Embiid is going to be motivated, but I don't think he's motivated by not winning the MVP. I think Embiid is motivated by
White women.
hopefully being great. By being great. He hasn't had the opportunity to be great yet and to, finish anything. We give these guys awards and everything for regular season accolades, but the proof is really in the pudding when it comes to the playoffs and when it comes to, getting into the championship round. That's really where we know whether or not you built for this. And a lot of the players who, we tend to talk about, they haven't been to that air. They haven't been that rare air yet, as they call it. So we have to see if he's ready to be in that rare air, because once you get a championship under your belt, you're in a different conversation in terms of your peers and in terms of the game itself. So
See, this is why I like having him on the show. He do the phrase with proof in the pudding,
Yes, he
not
does.
beat to his own tune. What?
Where your old sayings coming from?
I can name that tune in 3 bars.
Y'all are hilarious today. I appreciate that. Again, this is Sharonda Rogers week, man. I knew today was going to be a great show. Everything else, I was hoping it. It was a tough show for me.
Let's take some time, Frank, and reflect on Sharonda. Let's talk about it.
I was doing that before you cut me off, but thank you. I appreciate it.
You wasn't about to do that. You're a fucking lie.
I appreciate that. I was about to say something, but you just wanted to cut me off. Now, I'll say this. I'll leave this with Sharonda. That Sharonda honestly was one of the best people I've ever met, and Talon can speak on this more than I can. Sharonda would hit me up, and she literally was like, Frank, I got 15, 20 stories. We'd go through them every single day, never missed it. And then we ended up becoming friends on just the way we started report. Even though she would send me paragraphs on one story, I'd be like, Sharonda, I already know the story, but she would continuously, she was on her thing. And the best thing I liked about Sharonda, and I know Talent knows this for certain, she gave me stuff that I didn't even have to ask for. You know what I mean? She did stuff that you don't have to ask. When you ask people to help you, and then they go above and beyond, I think that's T.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. Her two, when it comes to this show alone, her two greatest qualities. One, I remember putting on to when at the very beginning first started. She loved it so much, she went crazy with sharing it, and that's how we got this kind of big female base that follows sports. But she did that in the beginning. Then every day, I mean, she wouldn't miss a day. I can count on my hand. We've been doing this for a couple of, she only missed maybe 2-3 shows, doing have work or something like that. But she would hit me after every show and bullet point and critique certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, that she was that much into the show, which basically sums up who she was to all of my companies and my brand. Like, I didn't go looking for a Sharonda, to put in the work and to help out. She seen something, volunteered, attached herself, and next thing you know, she's toppled over the other 9 workers who were part of the companies, restaurants, comedy clubs, and brands. And that's what she did with Box Seats. She loved Box Seats.
I didn't know she knew. I didn't know she knew so many comics until about 5 weeks ago.
Oh yes,
listen to me.
Yeah,
well, that's
Sharonda's been around for over. She's been around for over 30 years, man. Over 30 years. Not just a friend, man, but like a sister. We since we've been doing Box Seats, man. Talon was right, man. She critiqued everything. I talked to her at least 3 times a week. On everything from Box Seats to mental health to everything, man. She's an amazing human being, man. To know her, like everybody said, she went above and beyond. Yeah. Whatever you would ask her, you know what I mean? If you ask her, for this, you got that and so much more. And I think Box Seats was so much better for her input and what it is that she contributed to the show, man.
But hold up, Fed. Here's the thing. Amir was the last one to get high with Sharonda. Amir, tell us about that.
Yeah. True story. True story. So
the funny thing is, I met them in DC last weekend to this. It was Lord Finesse weekend. So Lord's DJ, I'm gonna meet y'all at the club. I come in the club, and I'm wondering why They're not even talking, but they're dancing. And they're dancing like they're floating. And I'm like, yo, this is special. I'm like, yo, what up, Amir? What up, Sharon? And they like, and they dancing and floating. And Amir goes, I just ate an edible they gave me a year ago.
True story. That's true story. So to T's point, we had a young lady who was part of the whole experience. She gave out these goodie bags the year before. So
Right.
I had told Sharonda about it. Sharonda said, Amir, bring it with you when we go down to DC. So I said, all right, cool. I don't really smoke, so I don't know anything about it.
Right.
Pass me.
Amir's
Inside
still
they
high.
had a Fruity Pebbles brownie. I mean, they had a Fruity Pebbles like edible.
Krispy Treat. Yeah.
They had a rolled up blunt, and then it had some chocolate edibles, and then it had some gummy edibles. So again, I don't know nothing about any of this stuff. So Sharonda's like, Amir, let's have the gummy one. So we cut the gummy one in half. She took half, I took half. Then she was like, let's have the chocolate one. We had the chocolate one. Then we messed around, started drinking Casamigos before we got to the event. So by the time we got there, we both nice as hell. And the thing about it is I didn't realize I was nice until Talent told the story of me filming Lord Finesse, which was hilarious.
You know how you try to record? Lord Finesse is DJ. Amir's like this with the high beam on him, right? But he didn't hit record. 10 minutes, he's not recorded nothing. Put it this way, when I called them and it was on my way to DC, I was talking to Amir and Sharonda. When I walked in the club, it was Miles Davis and Marilyn Monroe.
Listen.
But I'll just sum it up like this. For me, Sharonda, she was a one of one. Like, we fortunate, we blessed enough, y'all as comedians, I'm sure, have experienced this, but we fortunate and we're blessed enough to sometimes get really see a Picasso or to see something that is just one of one. And Sharonda to me was just that. She, as everybody has stated, went above and beyond the call of duty, not only in the friendship side, but she cared about your mental health. She cared about your physical health. And Sharonda, I think, had some challenges of her own, but she would put that aside and still do everything she could to make sure you was good. And that alone, for me, makes her one of the greatest people I've ever met. I, shared this with Talent yesterday on a Motivational Monday, and I shared this with y'all. I've only been numb one other time when somebody passed that was close to me in my life, and that was when I lost my brother back in 2000. But yesterday when Talent called me made that phone call to me, that's the second time in my life I went numb. And it was just like, I'm, in such disbelief, even, to this point right now. But I know that, one of the blessings of Sharonda is I've gotten the opportunity to get to know all of you gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I attribute that to her because when Talent, would say, Amir, we doing this or that, she would come scoop me, bring me to the events. And like I said, allowed me to meet Mike, allowed me to meet Rodney. Business Bully, I haven't gotten the opportunity to meet you yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Fig, I met Fig last year at Talent's birthday party after not having seen him for years and years and years. And Frank, of course, I'm looking forward to meeting you at some point. So big shout out to our sis Sharonda. I love her and I do miss her. Like,
Rodney Gray,
really miss her.
Throw something out there real fast.
Absolutely, man. We can't say what a good person this is enough. And I'll even big up Talent in the process because the people that gravitate to you speaks volumes to who you are. Mm-hmm. And when I come up there to do the gig and Talent had Sharonda and Amir picked me up, it was like family, and to have her not only know what you do immediately, but to keep track of your social. Hey, Rodney, I noticed your when you post certain stuff on your Facebook, it's not going out to everybody, it's going to your friends. Well, Sharonda, how I changed that? Yeah, let's do this. Yo, we come here to go, and I send my prayers to her family, her friends, just a genuine person, man. And we don't know the day, we don't know the time, and she it's an honor to have known her. And rest in peace, sis. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Dave, you want to say something?
Yeah. It's no secret I'm here because Rodney Perry said, "Boy, if you don't come on this damn show, like whatever Rodney Perry for the better part of 15 years told me to do, I did." when it was time for me to start thinking about getting back up on the stage, me and Sharonda had a conversation, and she was just like, let me tell you something. She said, I know for a fact the one thing that you have that most comics don't is the ability to ad-lib and switch and come off the top of your head and create a situation and lead people someplace and then drop them off a cliff. She was like, you crazy, and I love that. You know, like we would have these conversations about everything from politics to social media. Like she was like, nah, Dave, don't wear those shoes on stage, wear these shoes. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I was just telling Town last week, you crazy. The second you started talking about flexible slut accounts, I knew you were dangerous. Because I left for a long time, and then to be able to come back, you know, Sharonda was a big part of giving me that, because somebody that spent so much time helping talent build what he has built, to say that made me feel like, okay, yeah, I'm not just messing around. Because last thing you want to do after some time off is come back and be horrible. Aside from all of that, when my brother was in the hospital, she called me every day to see where he was, how he was doing. Like, you know, she was so kind and so honest and so very Scorpio real that I'm going through old text messages just so I can hear her voice in my head. Like, I haven't cried about anybody that hard in a minute, but yesterday morning I broke down. You know, like she's going to be missed, man. And yeah, I'm gonna get an edible for her.
Mike, hilarious. Mike, you want to say you got the last word, Mike? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, for old school, anybody from New York, and not excluding Business Bully from Philly, she was just good people. And sometimes you underestimate what it is to be a good person. Like, I don't even know why that lady shared stuff that I did. Like, she literally would put stuff for comedy shows that I'm doing Friday, and she would send it to me, and I'm like, I don't even know why she's like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, thank you. She was like, oh yeah, while you're in New York, she texted me, while you're in New York, I'm gonna have to get you here, because Talent got something going on Friday. And I think you do have something going on Friday, Talent.
Yes, celebrating the birthday. I'm in White Plains Friday with 2 shows. We did the same thing last year. The last birthday we did there was great success, 2 shows, and then the second one just kept after party going. A place called the Coliseum in White Plains. And of course, she would have been there front and center. No, here's the thing. Nobody, I said this to Sean Harvey today. Sean Harvey, he was like, yo, she loved, oh my God, her profile says, I love stand-up comedy, right? And I'm like, that's literal. I said, Sharonda's been there since the Boston Comedy Club. That's the beginning, right? And she kind of knew how important stand-up comedy was more than we did. We were green, we were young, having fun, and not really paying attention to the impact that we had on the game and people and how important the laughter was. We was just having fun, but she seen that before we seen that. I would say 8-10 years in, we started to kind of get a gauge like, oh, we're doing something important, and start really, hunkering down and batting down the hatches, so to speak, with material on what words came out of our mouth. It started to count. And she's seen that before all of us, and she wasn't even stand-up comedy. We love her. Amir said it yesterday on Motivation Monday, the best. Sharonda Rogers, job well done.
Yes. And on that last word, we're going to go. Thank you, Sharonda. This week we're going to be dedicated to you. And I appreciate everything you did, and all the people who are watching. That a lot of them probably came on because of Sharonda. But again, thank you for that. Thank you for all your kind words, y'all. Y'all know this is the show called Box Seats. Today we ain't even worried about everybody following everybody and all that stuff. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. We're gonna leave the last word about Sharonda. We'll see y'all. Peace.